Emily from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, October 24th to Saturday, October 30th. So let's talk about last week, shall we? We had Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion, blessings and abundance, finally go direct. You should have felt this major shift first in your mental plane, then in your heart space, and likely in your physical realms. It didn't feel so stalled out. It felt like a push forward. And only hours after Jupiter went direct, Mercury, the ruler of the mental plane, went direct as well. This really pushed our mental planes to the breaking point. We've been struggling to make sense, to make a whole lot of changes in our ways of thinking because of the information coming in, because of the truth being revealed, because of the communication breakdown, the misunderstandings that have taken place, especially in our personal relationships. This has illuminated for us where it is that some major change definitely has to take place, especially in us advocating for ourselves, doing what is right, fighting for what it is that we want, and reconciling the relationships that got a little bit messy that we seem to deem of value. The major event last week, of course, was the full moon in Aries. My goodness, many of us still reeling from the lunar hangover aftermath that particular moon event brought us. Of course, the full moon in Aries fired us all up in the right kinds of ways and prepared us for a major breakdown. A breakdown emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. Why? Because you got to break down before there's a breakthrough. This Aryan energy had a huge amount of pressure on our heads, on our heart space. We were raging out. We could feel our blood boiling. We were pushed, prodded, just mixed up so much in our inner realms that, of course, we likely lashed out. We likely put people in their place. We likely spoke our truth. We likely abandoned all care and concern of the consequences, and we just took action to vent, to unleash whatever it is that we've been holding in, and just opened our minds to seeing how other people were going to respond to that. Now, we did wrap up the last few days of Libra season. As I speak to you right now, Friday evening, the sun is making its way into Scorpio energy. This is a beautiful thing, especially for me. I'm a Scorpio. My fellow Scorpios, we feel like we're dying here. We're lacking this life force. We need our solar return on our birthday so badly. But even still, if you're not a Scorpio, Scorpio rules over a particular house, a particular topic and theme in your chart. And this is likely where there's going to be a major transformation and a major breakthrough. The last days of Libra really pushed us into the corner, really kind of forced our life lessons on where it is that we need to either make a break or make a change in order to reestablish the energy exchanges, especially in our personal relationships. We had a little bit of an activator. We have to stand up and fight now. We've been on the battlefield, yielding our weapons, waiting for that green light go. And let me tell you, moving into Scorpio season, ruled over by Pluto and by Mars, you best believe that the action is just getting started. We are standing in our power. We are using the dark force energy in order to muster up the boldness, bravery, and courage we need in order to charge forward and actually start cutting some things right away from our lives. Again, death and destruction is absolutely necessary in order to see a paradigm shift. That paradigm shift is starting in our own individual realms before it ever makes its way on the grander collective stage. We have to remember that the only way we can change the world is if we change the world within ourselves. And we are right about ready to do that. Why? Because last week we had a breakdown. We had rage. We had anger. We had sadness. We had grief. We had some dizziness. We had some stomach upset. We definitely indulged in all of those rageful feelings, and it led to a hangover like no other. Yes, lunar hangovers are very real. It's like switching out the alcohol for energy, and you feel the physical symptoms the day after, just as you would after a rager. And again, many of us just starting to come out of that energy as I speak. So let's talk about this week. What can we expect? Well, we get a couple of days to adjust to this Scorpio energy. Let me just tell you, you got to check out October's energy forecast where I talk about Scorpio season. This is deep, this is dark, this is transformative, this is psychological, this is spirit, this is alchemy, this is death and destruction for all the right reasons in order for us to really identify our power. We are asking the right questions, we are gaining clarity, we are seeing a brand new perspective take place, and guess what? No more dark versus light, no more good versus bad, no more pain versus power. Now we're standing in the middle of all of those different elements. We are integrating every element, and this is how we operate from a whole, complete power. We don't divide or compartmentalize our pain. We don't divide the darkness. We don't try to ignore it. We stand in it, because that is when the power is at its most almighty. We would like to say that the light and fluffy, unconditional love vibes is going to be what wins us this war. But the truth is that the most powerful energy comes from the darker forces in life. And when you have the power, the knowledge, the wisdom to alchemize, this is how we transform. This is how we make a change. When you can use those darker force energies in a controlled environment, you best believe we are at our prime. And that is what Scorpio season is designed to teach us. So this week, we also have the last quarter moon taking place in Leo. Now, let me tell you, from now until then, which is later on this week, it's going to get a little bit bumpy. We're going to be hella vulnerable. We're going to have moments of weakness. We are going to be terrorized by dark thoughts, extreme feelings, darker force energies. Why? In order to bully us into a bravery state. That bravery state comes in alive and well with the last quarter moon in Leo. We have to rewind to the Lionsgate portal in August when we were all inspired to make a change, when we were following our heart, following our dreams, our new soul calling. We have to rewind to that because our plans have had a wrench thrown in them. We've had to detour. We've had a lot of illuminations, a lot of realizations that just were not factored in at that particular point in time. And now, because we've had a huge heart activation through Libra season, again, a line divided between our heart and our head, a line divided between the good and the bad that we're harboring on our heart chakras. Now, Scorpio kind of erases that line and solidifies the energy, good, bad, or otherwise, so that we can operate from a unified whole energy and power. This last quarter moon in Leo is going to remind us of what it is that in our emotional baggage we have to put down. We can't carry the same expectations, desires, dreams, visions, and goals into this season. We have to understand where it is that we have been destroyed. We have been redirected since the Lionsgate portal in August. And we have to accept and grieve and release all of the things that we know are just not going to work. This is going to free up our energy, be a lot more direct, a lot more focused on what it is that is still lingering, is still possible, is still a passion, is still a desire. And then Mars, the god of war, the warrior himself, co-ruler of Scorpio season, will be leaving Libran energy, thank goodness, and entering into his place of power in Scorpio. You best believe this is when things get bumping. We are moving forward. We are taking action. We are operating in our power, using our fear, our uncertainty, all of the negative forces as our inspiration moving forward. And this is going to have a huge effect on us individually and, of course, the collective as well. So we also have to understand that this brings us up to October 30th. What happens on the 31st? Halloween. What does that mean? It means that the veil is at its thinnest. We've been talking about moving through October. How? The closer that we get to this 31st portal, the thinner the veil gets between realms. This is why it's spooky season. This is why it's creepy season. This is why you're having nightmares. This is why the dark force energies are coming at you alive and well, trying to put you in a state of fear, trying to put you in a state of paralysis. Because on the spiritual battlefield that has already been won, this is the point in time where the dark force energies have realized that they are losing. Let me be very clear. What you're witnessing on the earth right now is a play-by-play of what has already transpired in the spiritual realm. The war has been won, the light has won, and now here on this physical realm, we are just catching up to the play-by-play that happened on the spiritual battlefield, because yes, there is definitely a war going on. And yes, we have to trust that everything is happening exactly as it needs to be. And yes, we have to trust that you do not go on the battlefield ready to kill, ready to slash through obstacles and challenges, ready to absolutely destroy old beliefs, old paradigms, old systems. You do not do that with a happy, light, fluffy heart. You do that with rage. You do that with the power of being sick and tired, of being sick and tired. You go on that battlefield as a warrior with love in the back of your mind because you're fighting for a cause that you love. You're fighting for a cause that feels right. But in order to do that, you have to face the injustices that have been done to you, to the collective, and you have to let that fire rage within you in order to push yourself forward, in order to slash and slay through any challenge, any obstacle that stands in your way from creating a peaceful, harmonious, new earth kind of life. Because the corruption, the betrayal, the lies that humanity has been under, it's got to stop. It has got to stop. Moving into the new age Aquarius, many of us thought it was all going to be light and fluffy. It was going to be Woodstock. We were just going to do light and love. No, people. This is the rebellion. This is where we revolt. This is where we stand up and fight, rebel against the greater, grander systems that are outdated. Why? Because they're not fighting for the power of the people. They're fighting for the 1%ers. That doesn't involve any of us. And it happens through darkness, lies, corruption, all of those negative vibrations. And guess what? Us light workers, we feel that. That is going to be our fuel to the fire that we need to allow to rage inside of us in order for us to charge forward on this battlefield and win this spiritual war that has already been won in other dimensions. So that was a rant. I want to just pop in for 2 seconds. I got a little bit of homework to do, and then we're going to jump into the ascension symptoms. First of all, it's funny because, things happen in groups. Things happen as the collective changes. And over this last week, now let me tell you, I'm not trying to pinpoint anyone because the love that y'all give me on a frequent basis is very strong. And I know it only takes a couple bad apples to ruin the whole barrel. But let me tell you, I've had an overwhelming amount of people that come out of the woodwork, not only thanking me for what I do and helping them through a very chaotic time in their lives, but then follow up with, what's the deal with the ads? Why so many ads? Really ruins the vibe with all your ads. Well, I need to talk about this for a second. First of all, 100%. This is a soul mission. This is not what my ego would have wanted for my life. This is a soul mission. I died. They brought me back to life. I have a soul mission to help the vibration of the collective move us into new earth. That is my job. I do a lot for free. Okay? A lot of it is for free. And I do it that way because it shouldn't be something that has a price tag on it. But as of late, because my YouTube channel did reach a popularity point where the algorithm is now pushing it, it's also providing me with a little bit of income. Not much, but a little bit. And it's a little bit a compensation from the universe to say, hey, you're doing all this stuff for free. You're making a major sacrifice. You're helping people. You're putting yourself out there in an uncomfortable way that you would rather not be in. Let YouTube pay you. And then I get all this kind of, comeback from people that are angry that I ruin their vibe by an ad disrupting my rant. Well, here's the thing. That's the only way that I can pay my bills. My bill collectors, they do not care about my likes. They do not care about my subscribers. They do not care about the algorithm. They do not care about what is going on here. I love it. Every single like, every single comment, every single subscriber means the world to me. But it is not in a currency that I can survive in this 3D physical realm. So here's what I'm going to say to you. We're going to try something. We're going to try something new. I am going to make every effort for this next week to remove the automatic ads in my rant. You will see them before my videos. You will see them after my videos. I know they're annoying. Please at least watch a couple of seconds so that YouTube can pay me so that you don't have to. But here's the thing. I've also added a help the cause button on my link tree. You can go on there. It's through PayPal. Send me $1. Send me $2. I really don't care. Here's the thing. If you guys can help me out and make up for the amount of money that I am losing by removing the ads, then I will remove and continue to remove the ads. And we'll do it on a week-to-week basis. If you guys can help the cause and help me make up for all the cost that goes into my website, that goes into my time, that goes into providing all of this free content in order to help the shift, if you guys can help me out, I will remove the ads. And if we hit a week that you guys aren't able to help me out, I get it. There's no obligation there. But that means that the ads got to come back. I have to make a living. I have to take care of myself. I'm still here showing up each and every single day, each and every single week to help the collective. That will never change. But the way that I have to operate in my life to pay my bills, that has to be at a top priority as well, for me as the individual. Again, example, we just had the full moon in Aries. What is best for me? What do I need? What do I want? What do I deserve? What do I desire? Versus what do other people want? What do they need? What do they deserve? What do they desire? So here is my compromise. Here is where I'm going to cooperate and ask you to do the same. Meet me halfway. As of this week, you will see no ads interrupt these particular rants. And at the end of this week, if you all have been able to help me out with $1 here and there, then I will continue to remove the ads. I'm sorry to have to talk about this, but you have no idea how frustrating it is. I know I can't make everyone happy, but I have to at least try to make me happy. And that means putting myself, what I need, ahead of everyone else, doing my soul's mission, doing my soul's calling, and I just need a little bit of help. So we can solve that problem. The second thing that I want to bring up is that my November appointments are now on my site. If you want to book a session, I recommend that you go do that very quickly. This would be a great time for you to become a monthly moon subscriber because I'm getting to the point where I'm not going to be able to offer moon readings because my subscriber list is getting so long. That is not something to feel bad about. That is something to feel good about because you get 2 mini readings a month with 2 moon guides for the price of what 1 mini reading would cost. So if you want one-on-one time with me, you want individual chart readings and guidance, I would definitely recommend to go that route. Go on my website, check it out. Okay, enough promo, enough plugging. Let's talk about the Ascension symptoms for this week. So we have to understand that we're moving into a water season. So we have to expect that things are going to get choppy. I want to remind you of the many forms in which water can actually appear in. Yes, we talked about, liquid, gas, solid, if we are over emotional and we burn ourselves out, we burn our emotions, we evaporate them under the fire and the pressure of transformation, we are going to kind of dissolve. If we can keep a little bit of balance and we can go with the flow, we're going to remain fluid. But if we are rigid, if we are in a state of paralysis, we're going to see ourselves freeze up like an ice cube. And when you think about rivers, ponds, lakes, oceans, they all have a very different feel to them. And Scorpio season is going to take us through each and every stage, every phase of experiencing what that kind of energy would be like. We're going to go from a very calm, a very cool, collective, reflective surface of a very steady lake where it's picturesque and perfect, a perfect mirror to see what's going on with the trees and the leaves and the wildlife being mirrored back in that very calm, very flat reflection. And then we're going to get a little bit excited. We're going to see some action take place. That is very much the stream, right? You have this little trickling. It's very peaceful, exciting energy flow trickling down the whole terrain, going through bumps and waterfalls and the whole 9 yards. It's very exciting because it's water in movement. But then again, too much movement can lead to some choppy ass seas where we are definitely riding the waves. And we will be brought through each and every single one of these particular forms of water. So Libra season had us on a seesaw, right? We were up, we were down, we were up, we were down. We were trying to stay stable. We were trying to just get a little bit of a grounding point. Many of us did not achieve that. We were living in extremes. But we left Libra season with a 0-point gravity, a new grounding point, a new centering point. And now we're going to use that centering point in order to allow the water, the waves to crash upon us, eroding away the very tough shell that we put on in Scorpio season. And we allow the water to transform us, to wash over us, to cleanse us, to carry away the old fragmented energy that Libra season has illuminated for us. Again, it is about finding comfort in unifying the good with the bad, the light with the dark, the pain with the power. It is not about the division that we've seen in Libra. It is about bringing us together, whole within ourselves and then in our physical realms. So because we are in a water season, we have to expect that we have a little bit of seasickness, motion sickness, and sea legs. I'm going to invite you to really lean into rocking back and forth, really lean into salt baths and showers as we move through Scorpio season, because we have to connect to the element of the season in order to actually feel comfort, to feel peace, to feel stability. We are likely going to feel like we are on a boat and we are crashing with the waves up and down and up and down. And we'll get these beautiful moments where the ocean gets calm again and again reflects all the beauty of the environment around us, where we get to reflect, we get to dive into the depths of our soul, of our psyche, of the inner workings of our soul calling, the inner workings of our personal relationships. You best believe that Scorpio season is about unification in our relationships as well. This is where sexual desires peak. This is where passion and intensity build. This is where the darker parts of life, the taboo parts of life, are exciting. We're not happy with steady ground. We actually want to invite those extremes. Let me just give you an analogy. You know when you've had it, when you've just had enough, you've been broken down, you're just tired of being sick and tired, and finally your I don't give an F level is at an all-time low where you really do not give an F. That is the warrior-like energy that we need to embody. When you do not give an F, the whole game changes. You are willing to be bold, to be brave, to take a risk, to put yourself out there and just not care. Why? Because we've run out of Fs many, many moons ago. And now we are confident, we are brave, we are standing in our power of not giving any Fs. And the whole game is about to change for us. So we have to expect this ebb and flow. We have to expect our emotions to be high, emotions to be low, our thoughts to be positive, our thoughts to be dark, our relationships to reach a comfortable peak and then to kind of slip away into the depths of the shadow work that we try so hard to avoid, all in the name of the game of trying to find solid ground, all in the name of the game to re-spark the passion and the desire within us. But that is going to come with a little bit of motion sickness. It's going to come with a little bit of queasiness. It's going to come with a little bit of sea legs. Speaking about legs, I want to talk about the fact that many of us have had some spasms happening in our legs. We have had some electrical pulses in our legs, some vibrating. Let me just remind you, Gaia, Mother Earth, she has reached an all-time high in her vibration. The solar winds, the solar flares, the asteroids that are moving, the comets that are moving, all of these things in the cosmos have an electromagnetic frequency that really pours down on Earth. And Mother Earth, Gaia herself, she's sucking this up. She's raising her vibration. And guess what? We raise our vibration in accordance to her. And we are the electrical currencies that are bringing this energy in from the Earth, receiving downloads and light codes from the universe. And in the middle is our heart chakra. And this is our electrical mechanism that keeps our physical bodies going. But when we bring in new energy from the Earth, we're going to feel it in our legs. So the sea legs and the unsteadiness, if you will, is due to us leveling up to match Gaia's energy, to match her vibration. I do want to talk about the fact, and we will see this in our legs as well, that we're going to get a little bit puffy. We want to talk about water weight. Again, we're in Scorpio season. There's a lot of emotions in order for us to process, purge, integrate, alchemize. We're going to feel the puffiness, the inflammation, the swelling in our physical body. So you're going to feel it in your legs. Maybe you're going to have some, time where you're putting your legs up, elevating those legs because all of the water is kind of settling in our calves. We have a lot of fear being kind of activated in our knees at this time. And because that energy is trapped, because we're bringing in new frequencies from Gaia, but we can't get it up to our crown, you best believe that we're going to feel the physical energy from that. That is why we're going to have a puffy face, why we're going to have swelling in our face. Our fingers might feel overly sweaty and sticky and inflamed. And overall, we're just going to feel like we're putting on some water weight, and we likely are. This is going to ebb and flow with the energy, with our life lessons, but it is going to be something that is going to be physically visible and, of course, physically experienced. I want to talk about the fact that we have a lot of energy that is going to be stuck in particular areas of our body. So we just talked about why the lower extremities are going to have some discomfort. I want to talk about why our upper extremities are going to have some discomfort. We have to realize that there's energy coming in from our crown all the time. Energy pressurizing our third eye, activating new perspectives, new ideas, new paradigms, new information, new details. We have Mercury, who is now coming out of the retrograde. He will be in post-shadow period until the 2nd of November, I believe. I would have to double check that, which means that we're still reprocessing. We're still visiting, what has come up for us, what was destroyed, what was taken away from us while the retrograde happened. And again, many of us that are scrambling to put the pieces back together, you have to recognize that you're doing that out of fear of attachment, fear of ego, fear of identity. You're choosing to revolve instead of evolve. Anything that was damaged and destroyed and particularly tried to remove elements from your life were meant to do so because that was not your meaning, your purpose, your goal. We have to understand that the universe has a greater, grander plan for us than we will ever understand from our egoic identity. And anything, relationships, jobs, housing, whatever the case has been falling apart for you, it's falling apart because it needs to be removed from your life. And then when Mercury goes direct, suddenly we all scramble trying to put the pieces back together. And it's like, what the hell? It was removed for a reason. Like, take that detour, as disappointing as it might be, take that detour and recognize that you're being realigned to something greater. We got to stop trying to put the pieces of the past together. It's never going to look the same. It's never going to feel the same. It's time for us to move onward. So this transformation happening in our mental plane, really illuminating new truths, and you best believe we are going to get some bangers of truth illuminated, especially on the greater, grander scale of the collective and what it is that we're going through in this quote unquote pandemic. We're going to see a lot of truth emerge. We have to understand that Scorpio season is the detective of the zodiac and goes down into the depths of the darkness in order to show that darkness light. That is lies and betrayal and corruption and deceit and everything that is yucky, especially in our personal relationships. So let me just tell you, I've had many clients that their relationships, their long-term relationships, fell apart. Well, Mercury was in a retrograde. That's what was supposed to happen, especially being in Libra. That's partnerships, right? You got to do what is right for you. Anything that was been destroyed and has seen a certain death needs to be removed. And then y'all are just scrambling, trying to make the old relationships that are supposed to die work again. Well, let me tell you, Libra season tends to be comfortable in the shallow end of the pool. Scorpio season, not so much. We are comfortable in the depths of the darkness of the deep end, and we will examine every single negative, dark force energy within our ego, within our psyche, within our heart space, within our relationships, and we will bring that darkness up for a brand new illumination. So those of you struggling to hold on to the relationships that you should have let go of the first time around, you're definitely going to be rocked through Scorpio season. This is about power. This is about death, destruction, rebirth, renewal, transformation, and it has to happen on a mental and emotional level before it's going to happen in our physical realms. So we have all this pressure in our heads. We have this energy coming in through the crown. We have this energy coming in through our feet from Gaia. And where is it trying to go? Well, it's trying to meet in the middle in our heart space. But it's going to be blocked for the first part of Scorpio season, which means that we're going to have a lot going on in our headspace. Yes, we're gaining clarity. Yes, we're having new thoughts. Yes, we're really destroying old ideas and old perspectives in order to create a space for a new transformation, new paradigm, a new perspective to actually emerge. Yes, we're going to have new thoughts. Yes, we're going to feel that pressure in our sinuses, in our eyes. I don't know about y'all, but I've been having some very weird sinus leakage. I'm not even talking about snot. I'm just talking about liquid. It's phlegmy, it's thin, it's disgusting, and it's trying to move out of the sinus and move into the back of the throat. And as you know, Libra season was all about activating that throat chakra. Many of us still having some opportunities to do so, but there is this fluid. There is this goo, this is discharge, if you will, trying to find its way out. And that is going to have a major effect on the sinus pressure that we're actually feeling. I want to talk about the eyes for a second. We are slowly but surely starting to see a lot more clearly. This means that the floaters, the orbs, the lights are going to become a little bit more frequent. We are going to feel like we don't have to continuously blink in order to gain focus. We are going to see our vision, especially at the nighttime period, the darkness, again, Scorpio season, comfort in the darkness. We're going to see things differently. Our night vision goggles are going to be activated, so to speak. And I want you to be very, very aware that your environment will look totally different in the night as it does during the day. We are having profound insight, these aha moments. We have Uranus very much on deck this week, actually making some aspects with Mercury, which is the lower level intellect, and Uranus, of course, the higher level intellect. This is, again, crown. This is, again, going to create some tension, some pressure in our headspace, not quite a headache, but definitely pressure. This is going to cause hot spots, sensitive spots, migraine-like sensitivities in our senses. And we're going to see another huge purge in our hair. Again, I just want to go on another little tangent here. Forgive me. Hair is our largest antenna. When you look at how long your hair is, that is trapped trauma, that is trapped pain. When you look at the indigenous cultures, many times after they have suffered the loss of a loved one, in their ritual, in their ceremonies, they will cut their hair. And that signifies that they're not willing to carry the pain and trauma of grief around with them, the sadness any longer, and that they are ready to start fresh and rebuild and heal. And our hair has been going through some changes. Our hair went from oily state to dry state, to flakiness, to itchiness, to burning, to hot, to losing clumps, to all over the place, because the more healing work that we do, the more vibrational frequency healing that we do, the more we ascend, the more we level up, the more our hair changes the structure of the pain and trauma that we have been working on. That's why, you have a breakup, first thing you do is you dye your hair, you cut your hair. New look, right? You cut those dead ends off in so many different ways. We're definitely going through a deep transformative process right now where our hair is changing. We are going to feel a lot of pressure again in the head. We are going to find it a lot in the teeth and in the jaw. So you might find you're grinding your teeth more. You might find that you are kind of clenching your teeth more. We do have to make it a common practice to recognize many times throughout the day where we have to kind of release the tension, especially with our sinuses acting up. It is going to be that much more important for us to get a grip on our own releasing practices so that we aren't just, clenched up and rigid for no reason. We have to be more aware, accountable, present in our physical bodies. When you understand that your physical body is the messenger to your healing work, the roadmap, the indicator on what it is you need to be focused on, the whole game changes. Your body, the body system, the way the body operates is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And when your body is out of alignment, that is when dis-ease sits in. We can take each individual cry for help in our physical bodies as an indicator on where the energy blockages are and where it is we need to focus more on healing. And this week, we need to focus on the tension that we're holding in our bodies. And let me tell you, not only is in that teeth, in the jaw, in the sinus pressure, in the eyes, but we're holding a lot of energy in our sexual organs. Scorpio season rules over sexual organs, sexual desires. We are going to be hot to trot. We're going to have a mind of our own in our pants. We have to understand that sexual energy needs to be used correctly. Sexual energy and creative energy are sisters. If you are blocking your sexual energy, you are blocking your creativity. And we do have to take it, quote unquote, in our own hands. I know that was super punny and super cheesy, but realistically speaking, we don't have to look for other people in order to indulge with us. We can do that on our own. But the sexual urges, the sexual desires, the life of its own in our pants, the sexual cravings and desires are going to be loud. That it should be a huge indication on where it is that you are not honoring yourself physically, where it is that you're not doing the work to remove the energy blockages in those areas and in your creativity. And of course, listening to those deep, dark desires is going to let us know where the healing work needs to take place. Now, that might sound a little bit taboo to you, but here's the thing. Scorpio season is taboo season. It is when we go into the darker topics of life, when we kind of take a look at, the sexual desires that we have, but also where drugs and alcohol are concerned. Why? Because with great power comes great pain. And with great pain, our egos want to escape. We want to numb. We turn to all the wrong things in order to avoid and distract ourselves from the very intense passions and desires that are overcoming us. I'm going to tell you, not only is Scorpio season dark in the depths of all that numbing, but making some aspects with Neptune this week, the escape artist of the zodiac, the planetary energy that just wants us to check out of this physical realm and just drown our sorrows in whatever it is that we can find to numb. It's going to be a dangerous game for many of us to play if we are not accountable. And when you're on your healing journey, you have to welcome the pain. You can't welcome the pain and then run from it. You have to stand in the face of the pain and work through it. You can't numb it. And you're going to want to. You're going to want to throw yourself into anything that distracts you from the overwhelming darkness that you feel. But let me tell you, it's just going to prolong that particular process. This week, especially Monday to Thursday, where the moon is actually in Cancer in her place of power, we're going to have a lot of digestive upset. Yes, our nerves are rubbed raw, and our stomachs carry the most amount of nerves in our body. And if you don't understand the relationship between the gut and the brain, you should definitely look into it. But because we are being pushed to our boundaries, because we are being reminded of our initial passion and desire and what it is that we set out to do in August under the Lion's Gate portal, we are being reminded of where it is that we have continued to distract ourselves with other people's problems instead of focusing on our own, where it is that we have not created and implemented the right kind of boundaries in order to emotionally and mentally protect ourselves. And that is a hard pill to swallow. And that's why having these aha moments are going to disrupt our digestive systems. Not to mention, we are in motion sickness. We are having sea sickness, if you will, because of the choppy waters of Scorpio that we are just getting used to. This will put a huge vulnerability, a huge neediness on us. We will feel overcome with emotion. This is definitely some of the darker days this week, and it will have a huge direct reflection on the gut. We will continue to have heart activations. Now, they won't be as dramatic as last week, thank goodness. I know many of you reached out when I spoke about my own experiences having these quote unquote near heart attacks. And unfortunately, I'm saddened to hear that they happened to many of you as well. However, the good news is that we're all in this together. We all leveled up together, and that we're going to continue to repair that heart chakra. Now, keep in mind, the energy coming in from Gaia through our feet, getting stuck in our legs, in our kneecaps, in our calves. The energy coming in from the cosmos, getting stuck in our head, in our jaw, in our shoulders. The attempt here is to bust through those barriers and to unify with one another in the heart chakra. So there are going to be moments where it's going to feel like we are unaligned with our heart. And then bam, we feel this pressure build up, this release that should unify to you that the blockages have been removed, that we are operating in a whole capacity, a whole energy, a whole complete power. It does feel very uncomfortable. It can get very scary, but this is what we are built to do. We are bridging the gap. We are, erasing the line between the dark and the light. We are kind of merging, if you will, unifying, if you will, and we do that in the heart chakra. But with the heart chakra, we're also going to have solar plexus activations. Your solar plexus is kind of located right below your ribs in the center of your gut. And this is again why we're having some gut issues, because Pluto and Mars, who rule over Scorpio season, are high on their horses this week, making some very powerful moves, some very powerful changes. And because of that, we are receiving more confidence, more clarity, more surety, more power. When that happens, we upgrade our solar plexus. When that happens, we have gut and digestive issues. We have acid reflux. We feel like we have a bubble in our guts. We feel like we have stomach spasms. That is likely to happen when we are experiencing a shift in power. So it might not feel good physically, but intuitively, which again, our intuitions will be very strong and increasingly getting stronger as we move throughout Scorpio season, we have to understand that these are all signs and symbols that we are aligned, that we are on the right track, that we are successfully, alchemizing the energy within. And we get those validations by having these physical ascension symptoms to let us know that, hey, things are working. Continue to do what you're doing. We have to understand that our intuition through Scorpio season is going to get stronger. It can be very scary to those of you that have new abilities, that you don't understand how to use your energy. This is a great time to jump into mysticism, occult practices, really dive into the metaphysical realm, learn about energy, learn about your boundaries, learn about how to take the indicators from your physical body and recognize on the energy map where you're being called to do the work. Now, let me tell you, we are going to experience, again, extremes, again, intensities. We have to understand that the darker forces need to come up. We need to befriend them. We need to understand them. We cannot fight the parts within ourselves. That would mean that we are at odds with our own selves. We cannot do that. We have to unify with the darkness. Our inner demons, they're not there to be fought. They're there to be befriended. Those demons are only alive because of the experiences that we've had. We cannot love ourselves and truly accept ourselves if we do not accept the experiences that have happened to us. This Scorpio season is where we do the shadow work, where we find the power in the pain, where we find the freedom, the independence in our storylines that have had us stuck in a victim mentality. And of course, we're still in October, we're approaching Halloween, the veil is very thin. There is a call from the dark force energies because of the spiritual war that we are currently fighting. There's going to be a lot of dark thoughts, memories, flashes, a lot of creepiness, a lot of scary elements, mostly scared within your own thoughts, your own feelings, fearful of your own power. It is time to stop fearing your power. It is time to stand in it. It is time to use your nightmares, your pain, your trauma, every single dark thing that has ever happened to you, that has happened to you so that you have ammunition, okay? It's time to use this as ammunition. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Shoot somebody else in the foot with love and light. Let's kill them with kindness. Again, we're on this spiritual battlefield. You don't go on there raging with love and light, yielding your sword and ready to kill and cut through the negative forces that are opposing you. You don't do that with love and light in your heart. You do that with passion and rage in your heart, fighting for all the right causes. And that is what we're being called to do. So Scorpio season, highlighting sexual desire, highlighting, digestive issues. You best believe we are going to have some changes in the bathroom once again. Now, you should have had a full release, quote unquote, a full release under that full moon in Aries. Many of my female friends are totally aligned with what was the blood moon, and I don't need to go into detail what that meant for many of my feminine divine energy friends. But let me just tell you, you're aligned. You're exactly where it is that you need to be. And with bladder issues and bowel issues and bathroom upsets, you just need to understand that this is how we cleanse ourselves. This is how we detox. This is how we remove the sludge. This is how we recognize that in order to vibrate at a higher frequency, we have to let go of the past. Scorpio season is very fixated on trying to transmute the past into something better. We hold on to our memories through toxic sludge in our intestines. We have to get rid of it. We will get rid of it. You will see a lot of bathroom trips in all the wrong ways. So we talked about the give an F level, kind of reaching a brand new high or low, whichever way you want to look at it. Don't fight this. Accept it. Accept that this is your phoenix rising. Accept that this is your dragon asking to be unleashed, your inner warrior asking permission to go ahead and fight for you. Instead of fighting you, let your inner warrior, your dragon, your phoenix, fight the external circumstances that are making you feel like you lack control and power. Again, Pluto is the ruler over Scorpio season, and he is all about trying to show you where your power lies, where it is that you can stand in your power, where it is that you can use your experiences as a source of power. So don't fight it. Don't run from it. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. Make friends with your shadow self. Make friends with your demon. Get on the same side and recognize that this is an ally in battle and not an enemy that you should continue to fight. We are going to experience, again, some sensory situations. The normal ascension symptoms, which is like flu-like symptoms, ringing in the ears, dizziness, all that kind of fun jazz. But I feel like this is more like feeling like there's a water clog in your ear, when you get water in your ear and you just can't get it out and everything's kind of muffled and it, kind of clicks on you and you can hear sirens. I sometimes like to think that the sirens are actually the calls of the mermaid from the deep, dark waters of the ocean. And because we are in Scorpio season, we do have these high pitch frequencies coming into our crown. This is going to be experienced through a lot of sensation in the ears. I do think that most of us are going to have like that waterlogged feeling, that clogging feeling, that clicking feeling, but then kind of mixed with these high pitched frequencies that, do sound like alarms, do sound like sirens or the screams of mermaids. And hate to get all fantasy on you, but this stuff is very real. We are carrying these ancestral memories in our DNA. That is why the light codes are coming in, activating parts of our memory so that we can remember who it is that we are and the power that we do hold. So you best believe that we are in a position to push. We're in a position to charge. We're in a position to just take action and rage forward. Now, this is going to manifest in anxiety, in restlessness, in impulsivity. It is going to show us where it is that we need to drop some baggage, some old beliefs, some old emotions, some old ideas, some old people before we can go ahead and think very clearly entering into war. We, again, will have this last quarter moon in Leo activating our heart, making us brave and bold, embracing the qualities and characteristics of the lion, and really kind of making us take center stage once again and realign with the new truth, the new vision that we now know to be true. It's time to stand up. It's time to be a little bit dramatic. It's time to, again, remind ourselves of what it is that we've been pushing for since the Lionsgate portal in August, where we've gotten derailed, where we've gotten disappointed, where it is that we've gotten beat down, and rearrange our energy and our focus to move forward in spite of all that. Yes, you might have cold feet. Yes, you might have tingling in your legs, those sea legs. Yes, the cold feet is coming from Neptune and Scorpio season, really showing us where it is that we have a lot of hesitancy standing on this battlefield, where our restlessness, where our anxiety, where our shakiness and sea legs is definitely preventing us from taking a solid grounding foot forward. But we're going to do it anyways, because we realize at this particular point in the cycle that we can stay in the same old and stay in a state of paralysis, or we can move while being fearful. And sometimes that's the best way to move, in spite of the fear, in spite of the uncertainties, in spite of all the pain and trauma. It's better than standing around thinking about it and reliving it time and time again. It's better to use that as a motivation to push yourself forward so that you don't have to sit in that same freaking spot for the rest of your life. And yeah, you're going to feel the weight of the world on your shoulders again. You might even have some arm pain, might even feel like your shoulder is dislocated, like your neck is going to seize up. That is a huge indicator where it is that you're too rigid, that you're holding too much energy, that the energy coming in from the crown, from the universe, is getting stopped and blocked by the weight of responsibility that you feel to yourself, to other people, to old ideas, old goals, old dreams, old visions. Then you can do the work in the inner realm to remove those blockages and allow that energy to go down to the heart chakra and meet the energy coming in from your feet. And of course, busting your heart wide open, removing the shell, the vulnerabilities, the anxieties, the restlessness that you may be feeling, and empower you in a brand new way. So we are going from low vibe to high vibe, low vibe to high vibe. Again, the waters get very choppy. We are going to have some beautiful moments where the water is calm. And in those moments, sit in it, take it all in, be reflective, be grateful, because we're going to change again. That's what this Scorpio season is all about, is change and transformation and being fluid enough to go with the flow, but fixated enough to stand your ground. Being changeable enough to morph, transform with the new details, the new information that is illuminating your path forward, but still being firm enough to hold the line, to not back down. So again, you're going to feel that discomfort in your knees, cracking, in your hips, being rigid, groin pain, kneecap issues, ankle twisting. Those are just signs and symbols of where it is that the energy is trying to push you forward, but your ego is fearful and holding you back. So we're all on the battlefield. We're all going to take a step forward together. We're all going to do this in a unified fashion because that is how the collective energy works. We all have to understand that we have all reached a certain breaking point, and many of us are not content to stay here. We need to move forward regardless of how uncertain our path may look. We are going to gain a little bit more clarity. We are going to start putting the puzzle pieces together. We are going to have to go through a deep, dark surrender to our inner demons, our inner pain, our inner trauma. We are going to have to go through a stage to befriend all of those dark force energies that we hold within, that we compartmentalize, that we try to keep in the repressed shadows of our consciousness. It's time to let them out. It's time to play. It's time to get them on our side. And it's time to unify hand in hand, one step at a time with each other. It's time for action. It's time for transformation. It's time that we stand in our power, and it's time that we make a move. So once again, I want to thank you so much for joining me here this evening, for tuning in, for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, all of that fun jazz. I do really appreciate all the love, all the interaction, all the concern, every ounce of energy that you share with me here and every single day. I want to thank you so much for tuning in, for having this very beautiful moment amongst our community. And I want to invite you to let your guard down, to look into your eyes, to play with the darkness, to make it your friend, and to get ready to make some major moves. Sending you nothing but love. We'll talk to you soon.